Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Excited to be with you this Monday morning. I've had an amazing last few days, and I love bringing you these daily doses of Dr. Vitamin D. Why? Because everybody needs a little bit of sunshine in their life. And you know what vitamin D does? It helps you begin to truly absorb all the positive energies and the rays that come down from the sun. So that's why I say your daily dose of vitamin Dr. D. Now, what are we going to talk about today? I decided to continue the thread of speaking the I ams and to share a little bit about what those I ams actually are. Affirmations are fantastic, but affirmation without action is really just wishful thinking. And it's important that we begin to shift, okay? Have transformations in our lives so that we can manifest the very things that are our heart's desires. Because it's truly what we think about and what we focus on really dictates what we become and what we grow to and what we attract in our life. So affirmations are not just things that we're saying that, oh my gosh, I want to attract money, I want to just attract wealth. We actually have to begin to really see those things, really begin to think those things, really begin to believe, so that we have the opportunity, or we create the opportunities and the situations using universal law and ideology to attract those things and will lead us to it. That means our actions then follow what we're thinking. Okay, that's the key part. Our actions actually follow what we're thinking. So I've had a couple of days to really spend some great alone time with myself. And when you are alone, one of two things can happen. One, you can focus on all the great things that are actually happening. Or number two, you can process all the things that you wish and that the things that you lament and the things that aren't going so right. You have to make a choice. So what I decided, again, I said it was a decision, is that in order to really control my conscious mind, I had to dig a little deeper and spend some time really peeling back the layers and cleaning out all the crud from my subconscious mind. Because really that subconscious is the driving force to all the things that you begin to manifest. It really is. As a Man Thinketh is one of my favorite books by James Allen, and he really talks about how do we get to that point? How do we really think ourselves into being, believing, receiving, and achieving? So today, I want to speak to my I am for this Monday. My I am is I am thoughtful. I am thoughtful. And I realize that there are certain things that I was allowing to take hold in my mindset that was corrupting and causing some fissures, some breaks, and me beginning to operate at my optimal levels. And I realized that it was stemming from my thoughts, how I was thinking and seeing things. Do I believe that I will speak on global stages? Yes. Do I believe that I will work with some of the most extraordinary minds and innovators in the world one day? Yes. But here's this little niggling piece, and this happens sometimes when we're looking at what's currently in our view. We're looking at our current lens, and when we're looking at our current lens, it can often be miscolored or distorted or even cloudy because we don't have that clarity that we need because we're looking at everything else and we're allowing and we're processing things on the surface and it is sinking in. And then those old tapes, those old mind movies that are part of our subconscious begin to be reactivated. It's almost like I like the classics, right? Like Three Stooges, I Love Lucy, Adam 12, Brady Bunch. I like the classics, okay? For me, those are classics. And when you watch them, you have certain nostalgic memories when you're watching those old mind movies as well. The same way that when you're watching old TV shows or you're watching or listening to older music, you can remember back when. Well, that actually happens to us in the now, especially when things have been written and emblazoned in our mindset and we haven't taken the time, we haven't used the scalpel to deal with it and cut it off. And we think that we're over it. We think that we're done. We think that we're through. We think that, oh my gosh, I am so over this. But really we're not. Because we never processed it in the manner to be able to deliver ourselves from it. Because we lived in a state of denial. Like, I don't know if this happened to you. I'm going to speak about myself. I'm going to talk about myself because I don't want to talk about anybody and this is not true. But if it is you and you're listening to the podcast, I just drop some notes in the comments. Share this with a friend at this point. Have you ever been in the midst of something? And I'm talking about something that is literally seems to have the potential of ripping you apart and you just say, I don't want to think about it. I just want to put it out of my mind. I don't want to think about it. And then that state of not wanting to think about it, we bury it. And we bury it and put it in it, but it's still there on our subconscious level. And guess what? We buried it, but yet it was still alive in our thought processes. So when we come against another situation and we come up to another opportunity, which is whether it's a good opportunity or a bad opportunity, guess what happens? What we thought was buried, what we said we just don't want to think about, rises to the surface and it impacts our now. It impacts our ability to process through our current situation. It impacts us being able to say, you know what? Here's what I've learned from this. Because we were so busy going, I don't want to think about it. I'm just going to ignore it. It's like the person that ignores all those red notices on their door, all those notices of final notice that we're going to cut your lights off. Because if you just keep putting it on the table, then some kind of miracle is going to happen. God's just going to deliver you from it. Oh, it's just going to go away. No, it's not. You got to do something. You got to address it. Whether it's picking up the phone and calling someone and saying, hey, you know what? I don't have the money this week, but here's what I'm going to do. It takes action for you to move closer into the direction of where you're trying to go. How does that all tie back to being thoughtful? Well, when you spend a lot of time burying things, burying those bones. People talk about those skeletons in your closet. Well, you know what? You have skeletons in your mindset as well. And the longer and the more time you spend trying not to think about it because it hurts or it's painful or it's shocking or it's embarrassing or for you it's shameful, the more time you begin to think of it that way, then the more impact it's going to have on your now. So, here's something to think about. Okay? Because again, I realize I am thoughtful. As I begin to pull back the layers of what seems to be roadblocks in my thinking, or where I seem to kind of hit a wall where I don't complete something, or I'm figuring that I feel like I'm out of sorts. And I have to kind of go back and you know what? I got to get my shovel out. I got to get my shovel out so I can uncover those buried bones that were still alive. Why? Because I never gave them a proper burial. I never processed it in a manner to be able to remove it. I buried it instead of cremated it, okay? I should have cremated it. I should have burnt it up so I could have burnt it out. And when you don't deal in truth with the S, then it's easier for these old mind movies, these old memories, these old situations, these old happenings, these old hurts, this old shame, these old problems, these old issues to become very new in your now. So, what do you need to do? You need to deal with it. You need to sit down if you need to and cry it out. Cry out to God and say, just please, you know what it is. Remove this hurt. But guess what? The most powerful piece to removing the hurt is distilling and getting rid of the lie you've been walking around carrying because of it. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have made a mistake. It's okay to have made a choice that is not aligned to who you are now. So instead of trying to hide that you've never been there, you don't understand and you can't relate and you connect, sometimes you need to stand up and say, that was me. But I'm not that person anymore. Here's why. Here's what I learned from it. But if you keep burying it, saying that I don't want to think about it, you can never process it, to remove it, to burn it out so that you can re-engineer your mind and really promote and engineer a better today and a more extraordinary tomorrow. So that's why I tell you, I am thoughtful. Now, I can't handle all the things that I've been through at one time. So here's what you do. You take it one layer, one moment, one situation at a time, and begin to process it through a new lens, a new understanding, through a paradigm shift. And a paradigm shift comes when you have new information. New information that causes you to think differently about a situation. So, for you to think differently now about an old situation, you're going to take all of the things that you've learned, not only about yourself, but other people, maybe through conversations, hey, maybe even through listening to this podcast, and begin to process it. And you know what? I don't know who this is for, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. One of the key things about being thoughtful is forgiving yourself for not knowing better at the time. For not knowing better at the time. You are a new creature. You are evolving. And we all go through different phases and stages on our journey, which is why I constantly say, embrace the journey. One of my favorite, I love me some TV Jakes. We have time in the morning where we process. I talk to him on TV and he talks back at me. For one recent episode, I don't recall the exact title, and when he said this, it just hit home to me. He said, the dream is free. It's the journey that costs you. So it's going to cost you to heal. It's going to cost you to let go. It's going to cost you to be real and tell yourself the truth. Finally, you are not who they say you are. You are who God says you are. And you'll become who you think you are. So begin to think great things. Begin to plant those seeds and rewire and rescript your divine narrative. And the only way you can do that is going back to that rough draft. And it could be real rough for some of us. Going back to that rough draft and giving yourself permission for the rewrite. For the rewrite. So when those old movies come up, you can put them back in your little can and store them back on the shelf. That they're not going to cause the same hurt. They're not going to cause the same damage and the same destruction and the same stagnation that's been stopping you from truly living your best life today. So that is why today I'm going to kick off this Monday with being thoughtful. I am thoughtful because I decided to live in my truth, good, bad, and different. So I hope that this word encouraged you today, and if it has, please share with some other people. Like, follow. You can definitely catch Walking Through Glass, the podcast, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Music Play, and even on my YouTube channel, Dr. Dina Speaks. Because I have one mission in life. I have one purpose. My purpose is to inspire, empower, and transform lives. How I do it may change, but the fact that I have decided to be very purposeful and very intentional of doing that starts with you. It starts today, and it starts with this 15 minutes of your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D. Be blessed and be thoughtful. Have a great day. Bye-bye.